How will my kids learn to socialize and make friends if we homeschool? And what does homeschool life look like when the initial excitement of doing something new is gone? What if my kids miss out on friends and social skills because they're home all the time? If you're asking yourself those questions, I'm with you. I had the same questions before we decided to homeschool our kids. My oldest daughter is in kindergarten this year, and my younger two boys are 3 and 2, with our youngest daughter just being 6 months old. We made the decision to start homeschooling our kids after a ton of back and forth and a lot more prayer. My husband and I both felt the Lord tell us that homeschool was the right thing for our family in our own individual prayer time. Do you hear me? I said, God told us individually in our own prayer time that this is what we were supposed to do, because for months we had honestly just been arguing about it every time it came up with no resolve. Language arts. Already did our handwriting practice. Now we're going to do... Okay, so you're going to do this one, baby. If the word matches the picture, then you're going to circle it. If it doesn't match, you're going to put an X, okay? All right, so it's a net. No, because that says not. It was a random day where we both came to each other and basically said we need to talk, and we both came to each other to tell each other the same thing. It was wild. Anyway, my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old attended a Christian private pre-K program last year. And while we loved it for them, one, it was going to be way beyond our budget if we planned on sending our younger 2 babies, because when we made the decision to send my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old initially, the 2 younger babies were not here yet. So with that being considered, we knew something had to shift. And 2, private school is a rigorous educational environment, okay? Those kids are being set up for success in a very intentional way. And honestly, I thought that was what I wanted for my kids. What is a number line? It is a visual display of the positions of numbers in order. This is a number line, baby. It helps us see how they relate. Look at the frog on the number line below. Is he jumping from line to line and counting numbers? Can you hop with the frog from each number? Believe it or not, I actually have 2 degrees in education, a bachelor's and a master's. But that's what I think held me back so much. I only saw education operating in one way. But when my 4-year-old, at the time, now 5-year-old, was showing some struggles with her educational demands, I paused. I was like, wait, hold on. What's happening here? I realized that maybe putting my kids into an intense pre-K environment that had them, quote unquote, ahead of the curve wasn't actually the right fit for them. This never dawned on me before, because I just assumed understanding how much a child's future is set up in those early years of learning, that I'd have my kids in programs like that and give them that upper hand. But it wasn't until we began this homeschooling journey that I realized that being book smart isn't the only way to have an upper hand. Now that I'm closer to God than ever before, and me and my husband truly do our best to raise our children that way and unto God, my mindset has totally shifted. So we've recently started visiting our local library as a change of scenery for our homeschool time. My husband and myself usually split up and take a kid or 2 each and then just let them explore. The cool thing about our local library is that they have tons of toys and books, of course, but they also have this event that they do on a weekly basis called Sensory Time. And a librarian reads books and sings songs and sets up an arts and crafts activity for them. First went, we really didn't know what to expect because child, we hadn't been to a library in years. I probably haven't been to a library since I was in grad school almost 10 years ago. But once we got in there, we realized that the library is the spot to be for the kids. There were so many kids, our kids' ages, and it was the perfect opportunity to see if my kids blended in or not. And it was funny because the last time we went, there were about 20 kids that were doing story time. And they had finished the book and they got up to start doing a little fun sing-song dance activity to the song The Floor is Lava. And if you've heard that song, you know that the song tells the kids to hop and skip and freeze and dance and all that kind of fun stuff. Well, all the kids were pretty much staying in their one spot, jumping and like kind of dancing. They were all kind of like doing the same thing. But my kids, child, they were in full performance mode, okay? They were using the whole room, okay? They were off the rug. They were dancing and hopping and just full of joy. And with no concern of how different they were than the rest of the group. And I love that for them. When they get around other kids, they are actually so quick to chat and play and are so kind. And I realized that I am actually giving them an upper hand, just a different kind of upper hand than what I thought before. It may not look like them reading before kindergarten, but I believe the Lord is pleased that they are in a loving environment day in and day out with their parents, and at their age, that's the best thing for them. I'm grateful to be in a position where I can do this with my children. And if the Lord says do something different in the future, so be it. I will be okay with that, because it's about doing what He tells us to do and not just what we want to do, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm modeling for my children what it means to be obedient in all your ways, and to know that whatever God has for you is exactly what you need and will lead you down the path that He's created for you. And that's always going to be the best path for you. So if you're contemplating on whether to send your kids to public school, private school, or homeschool them like us, be encouraged that there's no perfect answer. We have our ups and downs in homeschool, okay? Don't get it twisted. There are moments where I get frustrated, they get frustrated, they don't want to do what I'm telling them to do, they're acting crazy, blah, 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 right? Pros and cons to it all. But there's also pros and cons to having your children in a public or private school environment too. My advice is just don't let anyone pressure you or guilt trip you into doing one or the other because of their own expectations or their opinions. You have the ability to make the best decision for you, your child, and your family. Because at the end of the day, you are the best person for the job to be their parent, and no one can ever take that away.